I'm Faith. I'm a doctor from the United Kingdom. I've been in Greece for just over 3 months now. I came to Greece to help with the refugee crisis. I am volunteering with an organisation that provides the dental services to all of the refugee camps, and we are now hopefully going to be providing that service to refugees living in hotels and apartments. Yes, it's been stressful and challenging, but it's been an incredible experience. I've met people from all walks of life, and it's the first time I've been in Greece as well, so it's been really nice to meet local people and see Saloniki, and yeah, it's been wonderful. I mostly worked with other international volunteers, but I've had the chance to work with Greek organisations. I've been into meetings with the Greek Ministry of Migration, and we've had some Greek volunteers, including a couple of Greek dentists. And I've also met some really inspiring other local Greek volunteers, so it's been, yeah, I've met a lot of local people, and I've been really pleased to meet them. It's a really difficult situation. There's been over 60,000 refugees from Syria and other parts of the world coming to seek a place of safety, fleeing from war with their families, and obviously that's very difficult, and there's been a lot of fear and prejudice from people in European countries, but I've also been really inspired by some of the stories of local people who've risen up to help them before the big organisations were present, and I've also been really inspired by the Syrian refugees and their ability to cope and still be really hospitable in difficult circumstances. I think for me it's been partly the experiences of meeting people and being touched by them and their stories and their kindness towards me, and it's also been a real challenge for me and an ability. I've had the opportunity to really challenge myself and to make real changes, and that's been very fulfilling for me personally as well, and I'm really glad to see that things have changed since I've been here, and that our organisation particularly is able to help more and more people. I think this experience has been unforgettable, and there are memories of particular people that I've met that I will take away with me forever. I even received a handmade gift from a really talented individual living in one of the camps, and that's something I'm going to treasure. I'll also take with me the harder things, like the conditions that I've seen, and particularly with the hard winter, it was very distressing to see that people were, families and young children were living in tents, and all those kind of hardships, and I'm sure that's something that I will be talking about for ages to come, even if it's annoying to people at home. I really want to make sure that everyone knows about the plight of the people, but also that volunteers and individuals and local people like me can just by themselves have an impact and do things if they get involved. I've had some really challenging times. This is the first time I've done anything like this. I'm away from home, and The organisation I work with is a really small organisation. It's only been going for a year, and therefore it's been really challenging. We do a really big job. We're the only people providing dental care, and there was a time when I got very sick. I had a severe burn to my leg from the shower. That's still there, it's healing, but it became infected, and I was left as the only person from the organisation actually here in Greece. And that was probably my lowest point, because I had a friend who was coming to help me, and she was meant to be a big part of what I was doing here, and unfortunately she came and she had a really serious chest infection, so I had to send her home. And I remember my other colleague and dear friend leaving that day as well, and they left the flat, and it was probably my lowest point. I think I sobbed like I've never cried before. I was an absolute wreck, but we survived it, and we've moved on from there, and I've had a lot of support since. So yeah, that would have been my hardest day. It's difficult because I don't know how much to say, but the winter came, and I don't think anybody was prepared for how bad the weather would be. And that was the time when I realised that the conditions in the camps were never okay, because when the snow came and the water froze, there were people living in tents, families living in tents, children in tents, in conditions that were not safe, and the temperatures were below -10, ranging to -20, and there was a really severe wind, and I was frightened for them, and even though the organisations and the government tried to react, it was never fast enough, and it was really genuinely scary. And even outside of the camps, we occasionally worked with another organisation to provide dental outreach to some of the squats, some of the areas where refugees or illegal immigrants are being trafficked, and that was really shocking, because those people were completely unprotected. They would be there one day, you would go back to try and find them, and they would have disappeared. And the faces of those people will probably haunt me for quite some time. I think for me, I hope for a time when people like me and the organisations that I work with are no longer needed. I hope for the day when there are no people in camps anymore, and everybody is in a home, and people can start building communities and having some kind of a life. I hope for the day when the bombs stop dropping on Syria and all around the world. I hope for the day when the world and the United Nations wake up to the fact that war and this kind of violence is so destructive, and I'm hoping for peace.